Echoes of Hope. ADRA India, the Indian arm of Adventist Development and Relief Agency, supported by ADRA Germany, has been implementing the European Commission Humanitarian Aid Organization, or ECHO, funded DIBECO project for building the capacities of the communities in disaster preparedness through a multi-hazard approach in Bihar. The DIBECO project was launched on 15th June 2009 across 18 villages in the flood-prone Begusarai district of Bihar, home to the most impoverished and critically marginalized communities in India. The DIBECO program funded pilot projects intended to demonstrate that simple, inexpensive preparatory measures, particularly those implemented by communities themselves, could limit damage, increase resilience, and save lives. The main objectives of this initiative were to strengthen disaster preparedness measures to cope with future disasters, to set up and enhance emergency networking mechanisms, and to build capacity at the village level through advocacy, participatory involvement in task forces, and access to disaster-related resources. The long-term perspective was to allow the most marginalized and ostracized an opportunity to be part of a team and take decisions for themselves. As a member of a task force team, they have learned to speak up, discovered their potential, and today they play a positive and a contributory role in the community and the local government. During the last 15 months, ADRA India provided training to the 9 task force teams in all the operational villages as part of the efforts to build their capacities in disaster risk reduction. Each task force team with 6 to 8 members were given specialized trainings on embankment safety, early warning, search and rescue, relief and distribution, first aid, trauma counseling, water and sanitation, security and safety, and damage and loss assessment teams. Capacity building sessions were regularly organized to ensure better accessibility to disaster-related resources and those resources necessary to ensure their livelihood security. ADRA India Begusarai has managed to institutionalize and instill a sense of ownership among the community in disaster preparedness through the DIBECO project. The project undertook a comprehensive and inclusive approach to include women, people with disabilities, elderly, and children in the task forces and in all activities related to disaster risk reduction, thus reducing the vulnerabilities of the families and making them more resilient to cope with hazards. ADRA constructed multi-purpose shelters in association with the local panchayat in 6 villages with active local participation. It has also constructed toilets in the MPS and upgraded the roof to accommodate more numbers in case of emergencies. Tarpaulin was provided at all the MPS for better reinforcement and safety. Fiberglass boats were handed over to the communities to facilitate search and rescue and recovery. ADRA has also set up community-based early warning system using a combination of indigenous and traditional knowledge and modern technology. Village information centers run by the early warning task force members has been established in all the 18 operational villages for dissemination of early warning messages at the village level. The Village Information Center is supported by the mobilizers who erect flags at prominent places to warn the community on the intensity of the impending disaster. Each Village Information Center was provided with 18 flags of each color to disseminate information after receiving SMSs on their mobile phones from the Agro-Meteorology Department and the District Information Center. for effective dissemination of correct information through Information, Education and Communication or IEC materials, ADRA India has developed bilingual wall paintings, signboards, posters and leaflets on do's and don'ts during floods and other disasters in all operational villages. Wall paintings at MPS and maps for school disaster management plan were also completed during this 15-month period. Video shows using an LCD projector and DVD player to attract people to watch films on disaster preparedness have proved to be an effective tool for dissemination of correct information, drawing large crowds of up to 600 to 800 per show. Street plays and village rallies are an example of using traditional methods for modern communication. Prerna Melas, which attract large crowds, are intended to bring together different segments of the community and foster better teamwork through sporting activities. VDMC members, Mukhias or head of the different operational villages, as well as government officials, have been made stakeholders and they participate actively in all the project activities. Mukhia, as a head of the VDMC, ensures that all the CBDRR plans are approved by the Panchayat, block and district departments. Since July 2009, ADRA India has been very successfully running the village-based non-formal education centers in all 18 operational villages. These non-formal education centers were set up with special emphasis on school dropouts to bring them back to the classrooms, especially after a disaster. The NFE teachers also developed their own teaching and learning materials adapted to their local needs. Meetings with the parents and community were also organized regularly to stress on the importance of education. Today, over 1,100 children, including 60 with disabilities, are attending classes in the 18 NFE centers. 685 dropouts have been mainstreamed and re-enrolled in government schools as a result of ADRA's intervention. ADRA India roped in the Civil Defence Department of the Government of Orissa to organize an intensive 4-day search and rescue training session at the sub-divisional level at Bakri, where a total of 118 persons, including 51 women and 3 persons with disability, participated. The search and rescue task force members, being responsible for the evacuation and to search and rescue operations, consists of young men and women who are good swimmers and sportsmen, and hence they were provided this intensive training. Training was also conducted on using locally available indigenous materials to make life jackets, rafts and other search and rescue materials. This will ensure a resilient community with a sturdy coping mechanism. To ensure better preparedness, ADRA India organized a full-scale mock drill to make the community more aware and resilient in case of flood, fire and earthquake. Over 4,000 people, not only from the operational villages but also from the adjoining villages, participated in the mock drills to test the adequacy and efficacy of the emergency response plan of the village in case of a disaster. The mock drills also highlighted the roles and responsibilities of the stakeholders at the village level and attempted to empower the most vulnerable groups like PWDs, women, children and the elderly to face disaster squarely with improved resilience. Search and rescue kits and the first aid kits were handed over to the community in all 18 operational villages under the DIPECO project. VDMC members were trained in the upkeep, maintenance and proper use of the equipment in preparedness for any disasters. The activities of DIPECO Project Begusarai has been implemented with great precision in spite of operational and logistical challenges. The large turnout of the women folk and their interest in the program has been a major achievement in this remote region of India. All community members have developed a sense of ownership in disaster preparedness activities. The project has facilitated rapport building between the community, the task force teams, the VDMC members, the Mukhias of the Panchayats, who are regularly contacted, updated and involved in all project activities. Till date, a total of 846 task force and community members were included in the NREGA or the Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. 108 community members who are working as mobilizers and observers as part of the Emergency Early Warning are linked with Agro-Meteorological Department and are receiving SMS through their mobile phones. On completion of this project, ADRA India and the European Commission for Humanitarian Aid Organization have successfully managed to enable some of the most impoverished and critically marginalized people in India to face future disasters with resilience and dignity. Most importantly, this DIPECO project has afforded the most neglected and ostracized an opportunity to prove themselves. As members of task force teams, they discover themselves, contribute to the welfare of all, and thereby find their rightful place in the community. Finally, they have a greater say in all the decisions that directly or indirectly affect their life, livelihood, and survival.